Good morning, everybody. I had a different thing that I wanted to do for today than what we're going to do, but honestly, in reading my devotions, I was just so impressed by the Lord that this is what He would have me talk about in the devotional. That here we go. Okay, so it's Psalm 46, and we're going to read through the whole 11 verses, but I'm going to stop and pause and take some time as we go through. So, verse 1 says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling. Selah. There is a river whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her just at the break of dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved, but he uttered his voice, and the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Man, if those aren't some encouraging verses, then I don't know which planet you're living on, right? Because in the beginning, he says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in time of trouble. Even though everything were to be taken away, the mountains were to be moved, and then we're carried into the midst of the sea, and then the sea on top of that is roaring. I mean, it's splashing over us, it's waving over us. Even in the midst of that, God is a very present help in time of trouble. And then he goes on to talk about that in the tabernacle, in God's church, or in God's place of dwelling, that God is in the midst of that place, and that place will not be moved. Then he goes on to say that God has all power. He can stop wars. He breaks the bow. He breaks the spear in two. He stops all of these things. And then verse 8 calls us to do something. It says, come, behold the works of the Lord. And then it's like God intervenes and says something right before David finishes it out. So in verse 10 he says, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. In other words, God's saying in his stamp of approval, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. And then in verse 11, it's almost like David steps back and goes, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Today, no matter what you're struggling with, a God who can move mountains, a God who can take care of the sea, a God who can cause wars to cease, will never leave the place where he dwells, and that's you, and he will be exalted. He will be. So no matter what happens in politics, no matter what happens in news in the world today, people taking down and bashing on God, he will be exalted. And that God is our very present help. He is our refuge.